I distinctly remember my childhood. It was all spent in the slums with no way out. In those days, they literally posted stars at every elevator to keep people who didn't belong in topside Philadelphia down in the dirt. When I was 7 years old, I came across a man who, retired, so to speak. Looking in his bag, I found an old rolled-up Apache deck and a couple of jacks with a headband adapter, so I didn't need the implants. I was a little scared at the time, diving headlong into a world I knew nothing about, so I spent my time in my room polishing it up, making sure it could produce a strong enough charge to keep me buried in the matrix for a little while without dropping the connection. After a couple months of light repairs and maintenance work, I packed everything up in an old duffel bag and ran into an old micro corporation a couple of miles away from my home. Hopped the fence, went around the back entrance, rolled the deck, slipped the headband on under my hoodie. I locked the deck in place and plugged the jacks into the cyberspace terminal at the back of the building, hit the switch, and immediately realized that there was no going back. I shot forward through space and time, into a world of infinite definition with resolution beyond the human eye. Staring into the techno-colored horizon of the Matrix, I saw the world unlike anybody had ever seen it. It was a world of profitable information and infinite funding to go wherever I wanted to go, see whatever I wanted to see, be whoever I wanted to be. I took it easy my first time surfing the Matrix, and only messed with the small-time business and a couple of public households, I guess. Ripped a few backup creds from an up-city middle class and began to save up to get out of the underground. Testing the durability of different security ICE, I began to search for weaknesses and wrote down what I found. Thus began my unofficial career as a small-time dicker. So I was jacked in one night. I was snooping around what I thought was a basic household. It had some strange-looking coding and some less than basic security, but was easily bypassed with a simple sleaze mask. I was rummaging around as per usual when I caught a glimpse of a figure out of the corner of my eye. When I spun around, I was face to face with a man who was so teched out he practically glowed. He blasted through my rebound software like it didn't even exist and shrugged off every single one of my attacks. I might as well have spit on his shoe. The guy grabbed hold of me and read off my location. Attempted to jack out as fast as possible, held tight and locked me up with something that I don't even heard rumors of. I don't even know what the fuck it was. I could have sworn I was toast and was obviously a sitting duck when I saw everything warp speed as I found myself being pulled back to reality. When I opened my eyes and ripped the headband off, I didn't notice right away that I wasn't out of the shit park yet. Someone was behind me, and that someone I was willing to bet was probably the one who yanked me out. When I got up enough nerve to turn around, I was looking straight into the cloaked over face of the same man who had confronted me within the Matrix. I dropped everything and attempted to run, but with lightning speed, he nabbed me before I got 2 paces away from him. This man's cyberware was so potent, he hummed. Wired reflexes, cybered eyes, data jack with the smart link, you name it, he had it. This man had everything. All of it. I immediately asked him, "What do you want?" And through the dark, brown, worn trench coat and hood, I saw a perfect white smile. And then he spoke. His voice was so deep it vibrated my vision. It was so smooth, he immediately put all my fears at ease. He said, "I've been watching you, Lux. Nice job on my eyes. Deception?" I told him my sleeves. It wasn't even tricky. "Good. But how was the code?" I told him, "Foreign, but not unlike Raku Tech. It was advanced, but too advanced for a public network. I figured deception wouldn't do shit because not enough people had access in that area to Raku Core Tech. So I sleazed instead." When he loosened his grip finally, I didn't bother running. He'd have caught me anyways. He bent forward and began to admire my custom Apache. After a while of him giving me tips and suggestions, he brought me back to my own house, my own fucking house. Before letting me go though, he asked, "What did you find?" I told him, "Not much. Some employee lists, most wanted charts. About the only thing worth anything was the employee list." He smiled, grabbed my cred stick, and uploaded 500 to it. He took the employees list, turned around, and just as he was about to walk away, he told me, "My name's Drake. I work for Mr. Johnson. I'll be seeing you more often, Lux. We Shadowrunners are far and few between these days. You showed a lot of promise back there, and I could use someone like you." Despite the fact that I was only a little more than 11 years old at the time, I dove into the shadows and began my rise as a full-fledged Shadowrunner. Drake kept in constant contact, began to commission work for me, paying 20% of the full contract. Easy runs, easy cash. My parents were never around, so it was pretty easy to stay on top of my working out of school. Nothing school would teach me that I didn't already know about out here anyways. High school diploma? For what? Some dead-end job in the middle class districts where rising the ranks promoted risk of death? No thanks. I can make 10 times as much as a runner with the same amount of risk and without the fucking monotony. It took 2 years of work before Drake brought me into a bar one day, took me to the back and sat me down in an office that was uncomfortably hot before he shut the door. The air was thick with this cherry-scented smoke. In front of me was a desk with a single light above it. I couldn't even see the walls, the smoke was so thick. The 2 cyberware guards on either side twitched, clicked, and reeled sometimes as they shifted weight, their automatic weapons clutched tightly in their hands. Suddenly, I spotted a small red fiery glow in front of me on the other side of the desk. A large, well-dressed man leaned forward, cigar in his mouth, and slightly smiled. His features were suddenly made incredibly apparent. The metal plate on his head shined, and his cyber eye flashed red a few times. The multiple scars on the left side of his face flexed with a smile, and his sweat glittered as it trickled down his face and over the metal plate. Then he spoke with an accent. "This the one then, Drake?" Drake patted my shoulder and said, "Yeah, this is your guy. He's damn good at what he do." The man smiled and reached across the desk with a fat open hand. I shook it as he clarified, "Mr. Locks. I am Mr. Johnson. I've heard great things about you and your jobs that you do, and need a young man of your talents for a special run. The pay will be very good, and you will not be disappointed, my friend." I smiled as I let go of his hand, and leaning in closer, I said, "Target, time, and figures." A booming laugh echoed around the office. "Drake, you brought me a winner. This boy may end up your predecessor if you are not careful." Drake smiled, his ever so familiar smooth smile, and then business. What's your name? My name is Diesel, and I'm a Shadowrunner.